there are some words that reverberate throughout the centuries with great force, spoken and written. The young Anthony heard the words, "If thou wilt be perfect, go sell all that thou hast and give to the poor, and come follow me." And he sold the property that he had inherited and gave himself to prayer. But he kept a little behind for his younger sister. And then he heard in church, "Take no thought for the morrow." And even that he gave away and entrusted her to holy virgins. And he dedicated the rest of his life to austerity and prayer, going into ever deeper solitude, where he acquired the gift of spiritual paternity, and although never ordained a priest, formed many saints in the life of the desert, the beginning of the movement of the Desert Fathers, to which the monastic life still looks. Egypt was the center, but there were others too, Syria, Cappadocia, and in their own way we also had the Celtic saints here in Ireland and in Wales and in Scotland, all part of the movement which actually was of Eastern style in its thrust. And then the power of the word written by the great Athanasius, Patriarch of Alexandria. He wrote the Vita Antoni, that life of St. Anthony which ran around the civilized world in Greek and in Latin, and influenced the likes of the great Augustine, who, though living a more intellectual monastic life, did embrace the ideal with his friends. Prayer and the conditions that favor prayer. And they discovered that the desert was a very favorable place. It had been a place where Christians could take refuge in a time of persecution, but they opted to remain there even after it ceased, for God was found in the nakedness of solitude more easily than in the clutter of noise and complication. There is a beauty in simplicity. We are only here once, and to live life without complication and with the purity of gaze, eye to eye with love, is very different from gazing at many things that drain the energy of the soul. Over the monastic centuries, there were waves of reform, but always the thrust was the movement of the origin. Both at La Chartreuse and at La Trappe, we looked towards the Desert Fathers for inspiration. I recall that taking the habit at La Trappe, after having been for years at Selignac, I did say in chapter that I had discovered the perpetual silence was the key. And so if one is actually orientating one's life towards uninterrupted prayer, one needs to ask the Holy Spirit for a guiding nudge to the right place. For if, for instance, casual talk has invaded the monastic day, then the monastic day will not be as intense as in a place where perpetual silence is maintained, and one will be fighting against the grain. It's good to fit in without having to be out of step with the others. Now, there are places still where one can find the intense monastic life of yore. There is a house in France, Sepfon, 7 Fountains, where there is still perpetual silence, and there are about 90 in community, and always full, but they have kept the essence of the Trappist life. It was called in the past Le Saint-Lieu, the holy place. And the Spirit does send there young, generous vocations who want precisely what they're looking for and will fit in all together, but they all maintain it together with the same ideal and the same grace in their heart and soul. And for women there is Vitorchiano, that's in Italy. They are also about 90. This is often they found. Young women go there knowing that it is secure. In the canonical life, there is added the priesthood, and one lives from the priesthood. In America, there is a house that is drawing many young men, for they have kept things as they were in the canonical life. And there's a parallel actually between the Cistercian life and the Premonstratensian life. Some things are shared. St. Bernard and St. Norbert knew each other. St. Michael's Abbey in California is drawing dozens and dozens of young men, and they create great beauty together. And that beauty can even be seen in the abbey that they have erected, a classical one with great honour and glory given to the King of Kings, and specifically honour given to St. Michael the Archangel. So God blesses and honours those who honour and bless Him, whereas grace can be withdrawn from its abuse. But wherever we are, we need to be aware that we're not here that long. And so in the day that comes, we do well to simplify things and make room for what counts. The simplified, gay,